humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today's reciters are Prabhavati Mataji in Sanskrit and Indira Mataji for English, reciting from Canto 3, Chapter 20, verses 1 to 17. Please, Prabhavati Mataji, when you're ready, start with invocation. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Please forgive me for mistakes. I'll apologize in advance. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 3, Chapter 20, Conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. Shaunaka Uvacha Mahim Pratishtam Adrascha Saute Swayam Bhuvo Manuhu Kanvatishtat Dvarani Margaya Varajanmana.
Hare Krishna. Sri Shaunaka inquired, O Sutta Goswami, after the earth was again situated in its orbit, what did Swayam Bhuva Manu do to show the path of liberation to persons who were to take birth later on?
Yatta Mahabhagavataha Krishnase Kantika Surat Yastatyat Agrajam Krishna Sapatyam Agavaniti.
Shaunaka Rishi inquired about Vidura, who was a great devotee and a friend of Lord Krishna, and who had gave up the company of his elder brother because the latter, along with his sons, played tricks against the desires of the Lord.
Dvaipayanat anavaru mahitve tasya dehajaha sarvatmanashrita krishnam tatparam chapya anuvrataha.
Vidura was born from the body of Vyadvyas and was not less than he. Thus he accepted the lotus feet of Krishna wholeheartedly and was attached to his devotees.
Anvaprachan maitreyam virajatirtha upagamya kushavarta asinam tattvavittamam.
Vidura was purified by all passions by wandering in sacred places, and at last he reached Haridwar, where he met the great sage who knew the science of spiritual life, and he inquired from him. Shaunaka Rishi therefore asked, what more did Vidura inquire from Maitreya?
Taya samvadatu sutta pravritta hya amalakataha apo ganga iva gagni harir padambujashrayaha.
Shaunaka inquired about the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. There must have been many narrations of the spotless pastimes of the Lord. The hearing of such narrations are exactly like bathing in the water of Ganges, for it can free one from all sinful reactions.
Tana kirtaya bhadram te kirtanyodara karmanaha rasagnako nutripyeta harileelamritam piban.
O Sutta Goswami, all good fortune to you. Please narrate the activities of the Lord, which are all magnanimous and worth glorifying. What sort of devotee can be satiated by hearing the nectarian pastimes of the Lord?
Evam ugrashava prishta ऋषिभिर्नैमिषायनै भगवत्यर्पिताध्यात्मः तानः श्रयताम् इति.
O being asked to speak by the great sage, the sages of Namimisharanya, the son of Roma Harshana, Sutta Goswami, whose mind was observed in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, said, "Please hear what I shall now speak."
Sutta uvacha हरेर्धृतक्रोधतनु स्वामायया निशम्य घोरुद्धरणां रसातलात् लीलं हिरण्याक्षम् अवज्ञाय हतं संज्ञातहर्षो मुनिमाह भारतः.
Sutta Goswami continued, Vidura, the descendant of Bharata, was delighted to hear the story of the Lord, who, having assumed by his own divine potency the form of a bull, had enacted the sport of lifting the earth from the bottom of the ocean, and indifferently killing the demon Hiranyaksha. Vidura then spoke to the sage as follows.
विधुर उवाच प्रजापतिपतिः सृष्ट्वा प्रजासर्गे प्रजापतिन् किम् आरभत मे ब्रह्मन् प्राबुह्याव्यक्तमार्गवेत्.
Vidura said, "Since you know the matters of inconceivable to us, tell me, O holy sage, what did Brahma do to create living beings after evolving the Prajapatis, the progenitors of the living beings?"
विमरीच्यादयो विप्र यस्तु स्वायम्भुवो मनुः ते वै ब्रह्मणादेशात् कथम् एतदभावयम्.
Vidura inquired, how did the Prajapatis, such progenitors of living entities as Marishi and Swayambhu Manu, created according to the instructions of Brahma, and how did they evolve this manifested universe?
सद्वितीयं किम् असृजन् स्वतन्त्रा उत कर्मसु अहोस्विसम संहता सर्वा इदं स्मा समकल्पयन्.
Did they evolve the creation of the conjunction with their respective wives? Did they remain independent in their actions, or did they all jointly produce it?
मैत्रेय उवाच दैवेन दुर्वितर्केण परेण अनिमेषेण च जातक्षोभात् भगवतो महानासीत् गुणत्रयात्.
Maitreya said, when the equilibrium of the combination of the three modes of nature was agitated by the unseen activities of the living entity by Mahavishnu and by the force of time, and the total material elements were produced.
रजः प्रधानान् महतस्त्रिलिङ्गो दैवचोदितात् जातससर्जभूतादिर्व्यादादीन् पञ्चशः.
As impelled by the destiny of the jiva, the false ego, which is of the three kinds, evolved from the Mahatattva, in which the element of the rajas predominates. From the ego, in turn, evolved many groups of five principles.
चैकैकशः क्षत्रुम् असंहृतानि भौतिकम् संहत्य दैवयोगेन हैमं मण्डम् अवासृजम्.
Separately, unable to produce the material universe, they combined with the help of the energy of the Supreme Lord and were able to produce a shining egg.
दोषः इष्टाब्दिसलीले अण्डकोशो निरात्मकः साग्रं वै वर्षसहस्रं Anvavatsitam Ishwaraham. Sorry, Mataji, I think you did not. Can you please scroll up? Yeah, I have already read that one. Now 15. Thank you so much.
For over 1,000 years, the shiny egg lay on the waters of the coastal ocean, in the lifeless state. Then the Lord entered it as Garbhodaksha Vishnu.
16. Tasya nabher abhut padmam sahasrarko sarvajivani kayauko yatra swayam abhut swarat.
From the navel of the personality of Godhead, Garbhodaksha Vishnu sprouted a lotus flower, effulgent like 1,000 blazing suns. This lotus flower is the reservoir of all conditioned souls, and the first living entity who came out of the lotus flower was the omnipotent Brahma.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sonrvishto bhagavata yahashete लीलाशये लोकसंस्थां यथा पूर्वं निर्ममे संस्थया स्वया.
When that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was lying on the Garbhodaka ocean, entered the heart of Brahma, Brahma brought his intelligence to bear, and with the intelligence evoked, he began to create the universe as it was before. Hare Krishna, please forgive me for my mistakes. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Mataji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for the opportunity. Please forgive me for mistakes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much for your wonderful recitation. Dear devotees, welcome to today's chat session. We continue our reading of the third canto entitled The Status Quo, and today we'll be continuing with our reading of chapter number 20, verses 8 to 11. Just give me a moment to just get the right Veda base. Status Quo, chapter number 20, entitled Conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. So let's start off, as we normally do, with the Mangala Charanam prayers. Please feel free to join in via unmuted mics. Om Gyana Timirandasya Kyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutan Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gourange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale, Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauramavani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadi Shatarine, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, share my screen. We can proceed. Here we go. Text number 8. Sutta Uvacha Are Drita Kroda Tanaswamaya Yaya Nisham Yagor Udaranam Rasatalat Lilam Iranyaksham Avagyan Atam Sanjato Arsho Munim Ahavarataha. Word for word meanings. Sutta Uvacha. Sutta said, Hare of the Lord. Drita, one who had assumed. Kroda of a boar. Tano, body. Swa, Mayaya, by his divine potency. Nishamya, having heard. Gore of the earth. Udaranam, uplifting. Rasa talat, from the bottom of the ocean. Lilam, sport. Iranyaksham, the demon Iranyaksha. Avagnaya, neglectfully. Atam, killed. Sanjata Arshaha, being overjoyed. Munim, to the sage Maitreya. Aha, said. Bharataha, Viduraha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sutta Goswami continued. Vidura, the descendant of Bharata, was delighted to hear the story of the Lord, who, having assumed by his own divine potency the form of a boar, had enacted the sport of lifting the earth from the bottom of the ocean and indifferently killing the demon Iranyaksha. Vidura then spoke to the sage as follows. It is stated here that the Lord assumed the form of a boar by his own potency. His form is not actually the form of a conditioned soul. A conditioned soul is forced to accept a particular type of body by the higher authority of material laws. But here it is clearly said that the Lord was not forced to accept the form of a boar by the external power. In the Bhagavad Gita, the same fact is confirmed when the Lord descends to this earth. He assumes a form by his own internal potency. The form of the Lord, therefore, can never consist of material energy. The Mayavad version, that when Brahman assumes a form, the form is accepted from Maya, is not acceptable. Because although Maya is superior to the conditioned soul, she is not superior to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She is under the control of the Supreme Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Maya is under his superintendence. Maya cannot overcome the Lord. The Mayavadi idea that the living entity is the supreme absolute truth that has become covered by Maya is invalid. because Maya cannot be so great that it can cover the Supreme. The covering capacity can be employed on the part and parcel of Brahman, but not of the Supreme Brahman. Beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. In one sense, what we read in the purport has to some purposes been repeatedly explained and outlined in various purports that we have been reading in the past. But Srila Prabhupada is so protective of his audience, the readers of his purport, that he makes the point repeatedly so it can really be instilled in our consciousness. The tendency we have as conditioned souls is to always misunderstand. We are coming from a point of ignorance, from a point of millions of lifetimes of conditioning. So we are prone to misunderstand. We are prone to not see things in its correct light. And it is only to the spiritual master, and we'll discuss this a bit more in the next verse and purport, that we can see things correctly. Srila Prabhupada used to say, spiritual life is like a razor's edge. If we tend too much to the impersonal side, we can fall down. Fall down means we can be prone to align ourselves with the Mayavadi philosophy. And if we tend too much to go on the other side, the side of karma, or mainly karma, then we'll fall into material sense gratification. So Srila Prabhupada, on every purport, he is so protective of his readers, he's so protective of his devotees. And in this connection, what misconception, and in this purport, what misconception is Srila Prabhupada trying to correct? It is a misconception that is propagated quite widely by the Mayavadi philosophies. When we read about the pastimes of Lord Varaha, who came in the form of a boar, we may sometimes be prone not to be so much attracted to this pastime, not to appreciate it, because our tendency is, being in the material world, the boar or the pig is not considered an animal or entity that is revered much, because the nature of the pig is it wallows in dirt and dust, and it even eats stool, the stool that human beings pass. Prabhupada used to tell the story of a cow. A cow was in its shed, and one day the shed caught alight. And it was a very traumatic experience for the cow. So whenever the cow would see anything red, it got saved eventually. But in the future, whenever the cow would see anything red, the cow would be spooked. So with our lifetimes of material conditioning, we may tend to associate things with our past experience. Prabhupada tells a story in particular in connection with the Rasa Lila. You know, conditioned soul, when it hears about the Rasa Lila, it tries to relate to the Rasa Lila in connection with its own mundane relationships in the material world. And it tends to misunderstand. But here this verse in purport is correcting that this form of the Lord, it is transcendental. It is Satchidananda. It is a completely blissful form. And this form, the Lord was not forced to assume this form. Every animal that is a pig or a boar in this material world has been forced to accept that form due to its karma in his consciousness. But Lord was not forced to assume the form of the boar. He took on this form by his own internal potency. And Prabhupada contrasts this understanding of Lord Varaha being a transcendental, beautiful form of the Lord with the Mayavadi understanding. The Mayavadi understanding is what? That when Brahman wants to perform any function in the material world, Brahman accepts some material form. And that material form is under the control of Maya. That's why they are called Mayavadis. They think the form of Krishna is a manifestation of Maya. The form of Ram is a manifestation of Maya. The form of Varaha is a manifestation of Maya. Prabhupada said that is impossible, because Maya is the inferior energy of the Lord. Lord Varaha and the Lord's different forms is the superior energy. The superior energy can never be under the control of the inferior energy. The inferior energy is always under the control of the superior energy. And also, interestingly, in this verse, it is being explained that Vidura, he was delighted. He was delighted. Delighted means feeling very enthused, feeling very joyful. Now, in the history of the world, no one has ever felt delighted, enthused, transcendently joyful by hearing about any bore in the material world. In the previous chapter, we were discussing in chapter 19, towards the end, I think it was verse 37 or something, Prabhupada says, the pastimes of the Lord are non-different from the Lord. The Lord is absolute. So when one hears the pastimes of the Lord, one is associating with the Lord. There is no difference between being in the personal presence of the Lord and hearing the pastimes of the Lord. So Vidura, while hearing the pastimes of Lord Varahadev, he was in effect directly associating with the Lord, with Lord Varahadev. And so do we. Because the pastimes of the Lord, Prabhupada clearly says that. They are non-different. And even in the first canto, third chapter, text number 40, in the verse Imam Bhagavata Nama, Prabhupada says there that one can get from the Bhagavatam the same benefit that one can get from the personal presence of the Lord. From the personal presence of the Lord. This is a very important point. Whenever we are hearing the Bhagavatam, whenever we are discussing the Bhagavatam, any pastimes of the Lord, according to the authority of Srila Prabhupada, according to the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam, we are associating with Krishna. And one symptom that we are associating properly with the Bhagavatam is that we should feel delight. We should feel enthused. We should feel like we have so many questions. This is what reading and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam is all about. So yeah, it is being described how Vidura felt delighted, how the Lord has assumed this form by his own divine potency, and how the lifting, and the word used here is sport. When Krishna performs any pastimes, it's not work, it's play, it's sport. Krishna doesn't do work, Krishna sports. So this whole fight with Hiranyaksha, this whole pastime about the Lord lifting the earth, it is the play of the Lord. It was the sporting of the Lord. And how wonderful it is for us to hear about the sporting of the Lord, the play of the Lord. This is what Lila means. Lila means sporting or play. And the word indifferently killing. When one is in a fight and killing, it's not indifferently. When you play sport, when someone kicks the ball, sometimes it may be like indifferent, but it's a sport. So just this one verse is so packed with some deep understanding, some fundamental understandings for our own upliftment. So before I move on to the next verse, has anyone got any particular reflections or questions on this particular verse and purport?
Hare Krishna, sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Please go ahead, Milam.
Thank you, Madhuri. Sorry, I just didn't see. I just clicked the speaker. I just unmuted. Prabhuji, I was just thinking I'm not sure. This is what my thought is. Like you said, obviously we don't consider pig and boar to be a very significant, and because of the filthy kind of things being done. But I think it is also a way of kind of giving recognition. I mean, Krishna can make anything pure and valuable, basically. So I don't know. I just feel that is also was one of the reasons that he took this form. So
That's a nice thought. Nice thought. Actually, everything in Krishna's creation is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's why, I mean, Krishna can make anyone look beautiful and valuable. And I think it was a pastime of showing strength. So, that's what, yeah.
And if we go sometimes and we see a boar, and it reminds us of Lord Varaha's pastime, not in the consciousness that Lord Varaha is like that dirty.
Exactly, yeah.
But it can help us remember the Lord. Lord Varaha came in that form, transcendental form.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice point, Nila Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Alika Mataji, you had some thoughts and reflections?
Yeah, I was just listening to the way you were describing Lord Varaha and how Vidura was kind of enjoying the whole pastime and how he was getting elevated. And, it's so wonderful feeling, like the way you were describing the whole scene. And I know we have read this many times, but it's the way you are describing today, it really lifts the soul that, how Lord is non-different from anything he does. He's absolute because he is absolute. So we can associate with Lord, whatever pastime, whatever he is doing. Actually, we are like whole Bhagavatam is studying Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavatam here. We're just associating with Krishna himself. So it's really sort of, it elevate our consciousness. That's what I understood. I mean, somebody was asking, as how do we raise our consciousness? And how do we elevate our consciousness? And my Guru Maharaj Shivaram Swami said, read Srimad Bhagavatam every day 1 hour. You will see your consciousness will be elevated. So this is so true that when we are associating with Srimad Bhagavatam with a wonderful devotee like you and the way you are explaining, it's really lift the consciousness. So I'm very grateful. Thank you for your association. And the class you gave yesterday was so wonderful in the temple. I was really appreciating the way it was really elevating. So wonderful. Thank you, Viman Chandra. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. In the third verse,
Yeah.
Srila Vyasadeva says, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamayalam. He invites the readers to drink this nectar. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamayalam. Drink this nectar. And what happens when we drink nectar? We feel satisfied. We feel enlivened. We feel happy. When we drink nectar. So same way we should, if we're reading and hearing Bhagavatam in the right spirit, this is what we would undoubtedly experience. We'd experience happiness, delight.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else before I move on? Sorry. Anyone else got any reflection? Okay, we shall move on to verse number 9. Vidura uvacha Prajapati patir srisva Prajasarge Prajapatim Kim Arabata me Brahman Prabruhi Avyaktamargavit. Word for word meaning. Vidura uvacha. Vidura said, Prajapati Pati, Lord Brahma, Shrishva Twa, after creating Praja Sarge, for the purpose of creating living beings. Prajapatim, the Prajapatis, Kim, what? Arbhata, started. Me, to me. Brahman, holy sage. Pabruhi, tell. Avyakta Margavat, knower of that which we do not know. Vidura said, since you know of matters inconceivable to us, tell me, O holy sage, what did Brahma do to create living beings after evolving the Prajapatis, the progenitors of living beings? Here we can see that now Vidura is moving on. Vidura is so excited, so enthused. What happens when someone is very enthused? They have lots of questions, like a little child. Sometimes when you were a little child, children are very innocent. They're very excited. They're very full of energy. They got a million questions. Mommy, can you explain this? Papa, can you explain this? What is going on here? Full of questions. So the symptom of Vidura's hearing from the sage Maitreya, and Prabhupada says this in one purport, that the symptom of feeling enthused about hearing is one will have many questions. So having heard about the pastimes of Lord Varahadev, Vidura now has got another question for Maitreya. And what is that question? That question relates to Visarga. You can remember that we discussed previously that there are 10 subject matters, primary subject matters of the Bhagavatam. One of the subject matters is Sarga, primary creation. And another subject matter is Visarga, secondary creation. So Vidura is, early on, he made some inquiries at the very beginning about Sarga, the Purusha avatars, and this will also lead to that. But now he's making some inquiries about Visarga, secondary creation. How did Lord Brahma expand? How, after creating the Prajapatis, what happened after that? So the purport. Significant here is the word avyakta margavit, one who knows that which is beyond our perception. To know matters beyond one's perception, one has to learn from a superior authority in the line of disciplic succession. Just to know who is our Father is beyond our perception. For that, the mother is the authority. Similarly, we have to understand everything beyond our perception from the authority who actually knows. The word avyakta margavit. Authority is Brahma, and the next authority in disciplic succession is Narada. Maitreya Rishi belongs to that disciplic succession. So he is also avyakta margavit. Anyone in the bona fide line of disciplic succession is avyakta margavit, a personality who knows that which is beyond ordinary perception. Important point again. Like if someone asks us the question, please explain how creation takes place, both primary and secondary. Such understanding is completely beyond our perception. We wouldn't have a clue. Just like the scientists, they don't have a clue. They're speculating, it could have been like this. Maybe there was a Big Bang, but how did the Big Bang take place? After the bang, what happened? Oh, there was a protein molecule. How was a protein molecule formed? How could it form from a bang? And from the protein molecule, how could we get a sophisticated living being? And they come with all types of speculation, something beyond, completely beyond their perception. Creation took place billions of years ago. We wouldn't have a clue what took place. So Prabhupada talks here in the purport, and he uses a very beautiful analogy. Prabhupada is describing the two ways in which we can get knowledge. The only two ways. The first way is the descending process, where there is someone who knows what happened, and then they tell us. And then the second way is we don't know what happened. We try to figure it out ourselves, and we speculate. And Prabhupada gives the example of a child wanting to know who the father is. One way the child can try to know. The child can go to every adult man and he said, "Excuse me, sir, are you my father? Excuse me, sir, are you my father?" And he can go to every man in this world. Firstly, he may not get to every man because there's so many men. Secondly, that man may say, "Yes, I am your father," but he may be cheating. So that process is not a good process. It's not an intelligent process. But if the child knows, yes, yes, my mother conceived me through the seed of my father. She knows who my father is. So I go to my mother, Mommy, can you tell me who is my father? And she will say, yes, so-and-so person is your father. So this is the descending process. This is how we understand, how we get to factually know that which is beyond our perception. Avyakta margavit. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining that Sri Narad Muni was a disciple, son of Lord Brahma. And Maitreya Muni is coming in the line of Sri Narad. So he's in that line of descending knowledge. So what is completely inconceivable to us, what is completely beyond our ability to know and understand, can be known, can be understood if we collect to the parampara system. This is the beautiful way of Vedic process, of Vedic knowledge. Evam parampara praptam imam rajasayu vidur. Krishna himself is explaining in the Bhagavad Gita. This is the process by which we can get understanding. So when we read the Bhagavatam, when we hear Maitreya Muni explaining something, and when we hear Srila Prabhupada clarify and further enhance our understanding of what Maitreya Muni is portraying, we are getting perfect knowledge. And we can have full confidence that what is inconceivable to us, we can know. We can know through the parampara system. And this is quite amazing. Quite amazing. So Vidura is telling Maitreya, he's presenting himself as a blank slate. And this is the mood one should approach the spiritual master. I do not know, but you know. And I have full confidence that you know. So please reveal to me the answer to this question that I have. And Srila Rupa Goswami says that one of the ways to spiritual success is to follow in the footsteps of the great personalities. So we follow in the footsteps of Sri Vidura and how he's approaching this. We cannot underestimate our good fortune that Srila Prabhupada has connected us to the parampara, this great lineage going all the way to Maitreya Muni, Vidura, Maitreya Muni, Lord Brahma and Lord Krishna. We are connected. We're in that line. And just like a current flows through a wire, and in our home, if our electrical wires are connected to the grid, to the main grid, we get light, we get energy. So in the same way, when we are connected to the parampara, we get knowledge, we get enlightenment. Hare Krishna. Before we move on to next verse, any comments, reflections? Okay, move on. Text number 10. Ye marichi adoyo vipra yastu swayam bhuvo manu tevai brahmana adesat katametad abhavayam. Ye those Marichi Adaya, great sages headed by Marichi. Vipraha Brahmanas Yahu to indeed Swayambhuva Manu and Swayambhuva Manu te de by indeed Brahmana of Lord Brahma Adashat by the order, Katam, how etad, this universe, Abhavayam, evolved. Vidura inquired, how did the Prajapatis, such progenitors of living entities such as Marichi and Swayambhuva Manu, create according to the instruction of Brahma? And how do they evolve this manifested universe? You know, sometimes some people may ask the question, you know, why is Vidura inquiring about secondary creation, about the progenitors, and about Marichi and Swayambhuva Manu? I thought the Bhagavatam is just about Krishna. Every word, every syllable is about Krishna. The point is, and Prabhupada explains this very nicely in one statement in the Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada says, when we talk about Krishna, we do not only mean the threefold bending form of Lord Shyamasundara playing on a flute. When we say Krishna, we mean his name, his form, his abode, his creation, his devotees. Krishna is all encompassing because everything related to Krishna, according to Srila Prabhupada, is also considered to be Krishna. So when we read about these questions and the answers, let's not think, I want to skip over this quickly. Let me get to the interesting part where there is some Leela and pastimes. No, this is also Leela. This is also Bhagavatam. We should have a keen interest in it also, because all of this is related to Krishna. And you can see often how this is related. From these descriptions of the progenitors will emerge a great pastime, which descendancy has Dhruva come from, which this incarnation has come from, like Lord Ram, the Raghu dynasty, then there's the Sun dynasty. So many dynasties we can hear from. So this is important. And finally, verse 11, Sadititya kim ashrajan swatantra utakarmasu ahosvitsam ata sarva idam smakalpayam. Did they evolve the creation in conjunction with their respective wives? Did they remain independent in their action? Or did they all jointly produce it? Very interesting question. And the answers will come in the following verses. Devotees, I've gone a little bit over time today. I apologize. I'll stop here. Take any questions or reflections you have. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan, Chandra Prabhu. Very wonderful. I really got enlightened by hearing your explanation, and that's why I think we should hear more and more, and more we hear and more our heart will get purified, more our consciousness will be elevated. So we need to hear, like all the verses do they explain that more we hear about Bhagavatam, more we like you mentioned that it's not the way Vidura was asking the question, because they're pure devotee. Vidura is such a wonderful personality. So for our benefit also, he was asking all this question, because we cannot, like I'm conditioned souls, I cannot ask this question. So those wonderful personalities, they also knows how to ask the question for our benefit. So that's what I understood. The Vidura was asking not for himself. He knows these are the question will be the generation who would be wanting to know all these questions. So on our behalf, he asked the question so that, it's beneficial to us, how we get insight and how we need to understand Krishna. So it's such a wonderful way. You have explained also the way Srila Prabhupada put her. It's really, really wonderful. That's why, it's Bhagavatam is just, we need to let everybody have the Bhagavatam set, and that's the way the whole consciousness will be purified. The world consciousness will be purified, and that's why we need to be sincere to spread the message of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Give it to everybody, and it's so wonderful. Thank you so much for explaining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Chandra Mataji, you've been patiently holding your hand up, your virtual hand.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for amazing. I was drinking the nectar of the words you were using, so beautiful. Just thinking about if Krishna is all compassing, yeah, how is it he's not listed in the disciplic successive line with the Vipraya Magavit? It's only Brahma, from Brahma they listed it. Krishna wasn't mentioned. He is everything.
Yeah, it's taken for given that Krishna is the source of this knowledge. And Brahma, we know, we've heard from the Bhagavatam repeatedly that where did Brahma get his knowledge from? He got it from Krishna. So it is an understood fact that Krishna is the source of knowledge. And the parampara is describing how it is coming from Krishna. So I can't remember in the Bhagavad Gita what Prabhupada gives Krishna first, but it's just taken or understood. And it's a fact from reading the Bhagavatam that Brahma got it from Krishna. He's the source. So sometimes that which is universally known, it does not have to be restated.
That's what I guess. Thank you. Beautiful though. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Why do we call Lord threefold Lord?
Sorry, Mataji, I didn't understand.
Yeah. We call Lord Krishna threefold, Tribhanga
Oh, yeah,
Murari.
okay. Yeah. So Krishna is sometimes known as Tribhanga Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Tribhanga Krishna is known as because his form is bent in three ways, like this. Krishna's form, is bent in three ways. That is a unique feature of Krishna's beautiful form. He's known as Tribhanga Krishna. That Lord whose form is bent in three ways, threefold. It is just Krishna's
shape.
Yeah, his form, his shape. Beautiful, beautiful shape, threefold bending form. It's called, sometimes Krishna is called Tribhanga Sundar. The beautiful Sundar, beautiful form, shaped in three ways.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Any questions or comments or even reflection? Anything you take away from today's session? Okay. If there's none, we'll close today's session. Thank you very much for your attendance and your attention and your participation. All glories to your service. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam.
Patruvyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnavebhyo
namaha Ananta Koti
Koti
Vaishnavrinda
Vaishnavrinda
ki
ki
jai
jai. Srila
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
ki
ki
jai
jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam
Bhagavatam
ki
ki
jai.
jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Excellent class. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.